Eddie Johnson, the Suns color analyst for Bally Sports Arizona, co-host of NBA Today on NBA Radio. And as the kids like to say, when he played, he could fill it up. Eddie joins us on the program. Eddie, thanks for joining us. If you were going to pinpoint one thing as the reason why the Clippers won, what would you say?
Yeah, Dan, first of all, thanks for having me. You've been my hero in radio forever, so I'm not just saying that.
Thank you.
Now, what was your first question? I got all discombobulated because I'm so happy to be here with you.
You're on the golf course.
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. All right. I won't take it too much of your time then.
That's okay.
If you're going to pinpoint, what's the reason why the Clippers won this game?
It was game 3. I mean, you think about it, Dan, they're down 2-0. Historically, that game 3 is always the toughest game. It's an embarrassing game. If they lose that game, they're not coming back in the series. No team has ever come back from 3-0. So you expected them to come out and play like their life was on the line and that they had to do everything to win the game. So the Suns didn't come out with the energy that matched what the Clippers' desperation was. And the Clippers won the game. I never thought this would be a sweep. Although the Suns had won 9 in a row, you had to feel like they were going to run into a mini wall, and that mini wall happened last night.
Devin Booker playing with that mask on. I don't know if you've ever played with a mask on, but guys will talk about it's just uncomfortable. And
yes,
so I'm going to guess that had something to do with a subpar performance. But
yeah, but how dare you bring that up, right, Dan? Because historically, people they're very careful with guys that are very good at certain things. For instance, Patrick Beverley is known as a tremendous defender. And so after game 1, did you hear any quotes that Devin Booker wore out Patrick Beverley? You didn't hear any quotes. All you heard was Devin Booker had a great game.
Yeah.
So Patrick Beverley's protected. And so now when Devin Booker struggles, everybody says, oh, well, Patrick Beverley stopped him. And I'm like, hold up now. It doesn't work that way. What about Devin Booker was just off? Because Devin Booker faces intense defense every night. Every night. They're building their defense to stop him. There's nothing unusual. He's just been off the last 2 games, and he has to get better. Yes, I think the mask has presented a problem for him. But as always said about offensive players, and I was an offensive player, nobody ever stopped me. They made me work harder, but they didn't stop me. I thought my offense was going to overcome their defense. And I think the Suns got a little lax last night. I think Devin has to really find his creases better than he did in the first game. And they'll be fine. But give the Clippers credit. I mean, we know defensively they can turn it up as a team, and I thought they did. Their energy was there. And Devin can't say, woe is me. I mean, this thing with the mask, he's got to find a way to get over it. As Chris Paul got over his shoulder in the first series against the Lakers. I mean, you just can't let that bother you. And I don't think Devin is. I just think he has been off the last 2 games. Could be fatigue, could be, just the length of the playoff and its run. But he'll be fine. I guarantee you. He can. I've never seen him go 3 straight games struggling.
I was also wondering this prior to last night's game. Do you bring Chris Paul off the bench? Now, I know Cam Payne tweaked his ankle, but I did like what he was doing when he was in there, and I thought this allowed Chris to ease into the lineup. Do you think that would have been a better way to go? Not that you could have kept Chris on the bench, I'm guessing, but
right, I understand.
Right?
Yeah. It's just difficult. I mean, look, he's all NBA. He's basically the reason that lifted this team up to the level it's been at. I think if anything, Chris Paul would have had to be the one to go to Monty and say, hey, bring me off the bench.
Okay.
Because I don't think Monty would have done that. But yeah, I mean, 11 days off. And look, I had COVID. So I know what it can do to you. You can't work out. You can't, they say don't exert yourself. So I know he's not in pristine shape. You can see last night, he was short on his jump shot. The shots that he got were the shots that he got against Denver. It wasn't their defense. I mean, he and Devin Booker missed a lot of open shots that they normally make. And, yeah, I thought he was dragging a little bit, and he'll be better in game 4. But, yeah, the pace has to pick up, Dan, if anything. Cam Payne really has a great pace to his game, and that's why the combination of he and Chris Paul are very good. And Chris has to push the ball, I think, early in game 4.
What do you see out of Paul George?
I've been knowing Paul since he's 17 years old. My son and he both went to Fresno State. I love him. I've mentored him over the years. He's a tremendous young man. And I think people really look at him the wrong way at times. He's an honest guy. He actually says what's on his mind. And he's extremely talented. And he's having fun being Batman. It's not easy being Robin. And that's what he has been really in his last 2 stops since he left Indiana. Although he had got MVP consideration in Oklahoma City, he was still Robin to Westbrook, and he's Robin to Kawhi. And when you're Robin, you hesitate at times. You feel more pressure. Now he's loose. I mean, he's the guy. He can do everything, dribble it up, take shots. Took 26 last night. Didn't worry about being off. I mean, if he was Robin and Kawhi was playing and Kawhi was rolling and he was struggling, you might see hesitation in this game. As we've seen that with this duo. So I love Paul George. I think he's tremendous, and the Suns have to do some things to stop him and slow him down because he can be the difference in the series.
He's Eddie Johnson, the Suns color analyst for Bally Sports Arizona, co-host of NBA Today on NBA Radio, and a former great scorer in the NBA. You mentioned that about Batman and Robin. I brought that up with Ben Simmons. I think Ben would be better elsewhere because he has played better, more comfortably. When Joel Embiid was out, he was a different player. And
yes,
so I could see that as a reason why, if I'm Ben, that I do want to get out. Maybe I'm not going to win anything anytime soon, but I need to start over. I need to hit the reset button for my career. Maybe he gets confident. Maybe he starts to get a little better shooting form there. But what do you think of that logic?
He dropped 40 on Gobert with Embiid out.
Yeah.
That's the biggest example. Very aggressive offensively because he knows now it's on his shoulders. When Embiid is there, he defers to him. Rightly so. But he's uncomfortable in doing it. It takes him out of rhythm. I totally agree with you. He needs to get to a team where everything is on his shoulders, and then he's forced to do some things that he doesn't like to do. I heard you mention Scottie Pippen, in regards to he and KD. And if you remember, Scottie was Robin to Jordan, obviously, and they won titles. But the one year that Scottie was able to be Batman, he made all league. And really a phantom foul away from maybe getting back to the finals. And then I know you brought up the Kukoc situation. Well, that's why Scottie was upset. Because all of a sudden, Scottie went back to that thought where when Jordan was there, he never got that chance. Now Jordan's gone and he's been Batman all year. Phil wants to let Kukoc take the shot. And it hit him in a way that,
Yeah, but Eddie, that doesn't make sense because Mike was there when Paxson hit the shot against the Suns, and Mike was there when Steve Kerr hit a big shot against the Utah Jazz.
Exactly. But it took him a quarter to finally throw the ball to Paxson because Phil kept telling him to throw it. Okay. And then he had to put Steve Kerr under a court pressure where he kept asking him, "You going to be ready? You going to be ready to shoot?" before he gave it to him. Okay.
No, you're right, but that's Michael. That we know Mike's competitiveness there. But if I said you could have Durant as a teammate or Pippen as a teammate,
for me, and this is why I say this, because to me, Magic is the best ever. And I think when LeBron retires, I think LeBron will be. And here's why. Because you know me, Dan. What was I as a player? I was a guy that depended on my teammates. I mean, my success was dependent on guys that got me open and guys that got me the ball. Well, Magic and LeBron are two of the best ever at getting you the ball and still getting there. Whereas with KD or with MJ, I'm watching, just like Paxson and Kerr was watching. So, we all have different eyesight in regards to who we would like to play with or who we think is the best. And for my money, I would take Scottie because I know Scottie is going to involve the entire team. And no disrespect to Kevin Durant. He's an unbelievable basketball player, man. And I love watching him. But that's how I would view it.
Do you think LeBron can end up as the best player of all time?
I do. I actually do. I think he's got to win another title or two. to do it. But I do. He's trumped them, and he's trumped everybody in every record. I mean, he's got everything: longevity, records. He's one of the most unselfish players to ever play, and he might wind up be the all-time leading scorer in the history of the game and top five in assists.
Isn't that amazing?
Hey, I don't care. Yeah, the 6-0 is always going to be there as a shadow over him. But Scottie Pippen's 6-0.
Give me
it's a team record.
Give me your Michael Jordan on the court story.
The most tenacious dude I've ever encountered in my life.
Is there a story though that did?
Oh yes. We at Indiana Pacers, the year that they were trying to win 73 instead of 72. Well, we were playing them at the end of the year, and really nobody really needed the game. It was just a game we were playing. But I knew that they wanted to get 73, and it was a close game, and it was in the fourth quarter, and I think we were up 6. And I was in the game, and I looked at him. I said, "I guess you all not getting 73 this year." And he just looked at me, and he started chewing his gum real fast. And I'm like, okay. And for the next minute and a half, he lost his mind. I mean, it was game 7. And he fouled me at the end on a jumper, and they called a foul, hit me on the elbow. And I had 2 free throws to seal the victory, and he was just mad. And he was walking off the court, and he and I was like crossing paths. I said, "Man, what is wrong with you?" And he said, "Just be careful what you ask for."
It's great to catch up with you, Eddie. And
all right, Dan.
Thank you.
It.
Thank you. Enjoy your round of golf there.
All right. Thank you very much.
That's Eddie Johnson, Suns color analyst. That's not a bad life there, getting ready to play golf early in the morning. He's co-host of NBA Today on NBA Radio as well.